Good morning. It is 9 o'clock, December 13th, 2023, I think it's Wednesday. I have audio confirmation over on this screen over here. As you can see, before the stream started, I had 23.6 upload, 546 megabits download. Hey, Doug, what are you paying for? Well, according to my notes, the last change I made on my Comcast service was gigabit down and 15 megabits per second upload. And the reason why that was so low is because I wanted to drop my TV service and have internet only. And the only plan they had, the only contract they had available was 15 megabits per second upload. But I'm getting 23.6 megabits per second upload. Did I actually switch to that? I'm not sure. I've got to go check my actual Comcast records, my bill. I was intending to do that before showtime today, but then didn't get around to it. I've had round to it's before. It's a little round coin, says to it on it. If I don't have a round to it, then I just didn't get it. Okay, so what you going to do? What you going to do, Doug? Let's go to an email from Martin Hogg. This one came in yesterday, before showtime yesterday. And Martin, I apologize. I did see your email and I didn't get it flagged properly for it to show up during the show. He says, hope you are well and Big Beast behaving. Well, is Big Beast behaving? Let's try Windows key and let's see, reliability history. I don't know what this is going to show. I almost went to look at it before showtime and I said, no, let's surprise Doug. Well, okay, that's not nearly as bad as it used to be. Here we see how it used to be. Then I made that change where I reset BIOS defaults so that it wouldn't be overclocking the memory anymore. And now I'm getting better. And we looked at these X's here a little bit once before and then kind of dropped the ball and didn't pursue that. Host process for Windows services, SVC host, Elgato audio control server. Is that the same thing? Nope, this X is not the same thing. Microsoft Teams updater, bad module info. Yeah, that's not referring to memory module. That's an app. Looks like of some sort of an app crash. And then over here, and I'm not intending to pursue this much now either, Epic Games Launcher. It stopped working, really? I don't remember that yesterday. Oh, I had really bad stream on Fortnite yesterday. So maybe that's what that was about. Okay, but anyway, enough of that. Let's get back to Martin Hogg's email. I have been given an old Asus 32-bit laptop which runs Windows XP and has a 2.5-inch IDE drive, not SATA, IDE. For those of you who weren't born after a certain date, you might not know what IDE is. I have Linux on a bootable USB that I wish to install. However, BIOS does not even show USB as one of the boot options available. Is there a way to make BIOS recognize a USB bootable drive? Yes, but. Yes, but. Yes, but. Yes, but. If not, should I burn the Linux installer onto a DVD? That would be your safest bet. That would be your safest and most assured way to do it. And now that implies that you have a DVD drive on that computer, which is highly likely because of its age. That would definitely be the better way to go. Now, is there any way? Yeah, but here's the catch. There is a way, but I don't know that it will work for that computer. The only way that I know of is if there is a BIOS update for that computer that enables it to boot USB. And that's a crapshoot, whether that computer has that. Because I have come across it in the past where a BIOS update to a particular computer will enable a certain function on it, but only if that particular model computer, that manufacturer, it was just at a point in history where they had just taken that step up in that model, but this computer was purchased before that BIOS upgrade. So that BIOS upgrade It's likely going to have to be a download to some form of bootable media, a 2.5-inch diskette, floppy disk if you have that, or it probably maybe to a DVD or a CD. It might be able that then might have the BIOS update capable from a USB. Yeah, that's possible because it might store the file on the USB, and then when you restart the computer, you get into the BIOS setup screen, and if it has menu options or keyboard functions to install an update from a USB thumb drive, that might be possible. Or it might even let you browse to the place on the hard drive where you have that BIOS update stored. But it's not going to do an online BIOS update, of course, because it's, well, hey, Windows XP, yeah. So those are my thoughts on that. But safest, the most assured way is going to be use let's see, Linux installer to the DVD, because then you're not caring about the BIOS. Definitely is going to be your easiest way to go, in my opinion. And that is the only email I have. There are no questions or comments to look at. So let's go to chat. I haven't looked to see if you're yelling at me about something. No, nope, you're not. First chat message, Alice says, hello all. Jeff Ryman, good morning. Somebody called Live Windows Training DougBetts says normal start time today. Good evening. And by the way, the Fortnite stream ran perfect this morning. Martin, good evening to see you all from Scotland. I'd probably butcher that accent. Dennis, your trader got interrupted when close to start time. Yeah, I've seen that. The traders won't play at a certain amount of time prior to the actual show start time, and I don't think that is a fixed time. I think if you try over and over to see when that cutoff is, it's not consistent for the little bit of trying I've done. Seldom Ball with the weather report. Dennis starting late, watching the rest of the trader. So he probably went into YouTube history so he could see the rest of the trader. Oystein was watching this morning on Fortnite. It was nice to have you there. Oystein, thank you. Rick Lakes, hello. Tim Sowell, Lawn Dog. And chit chat. I hope the shop is busy. That's from Lawn Dog to Tim. But might allow you to have a little time off for the Christmas season. Daniel Emberley, hello, good to see you. Lawn Dog, my wife is going to get a full week. Don't ask me how that works out. A full week. I guess that means a full week off from work. Could be that she's going to get a full week of work. I'm going to guess it's that she gets the week off. Brian Lightfoot, if they ever pass a law that says you can't lie to your kids, I hope they include a Santa Claus. My right eye was reading ahead a little bit there. And is this a joke? I don't see how this is going to be a joke until I actually heard myself read it. IDE, that goes way back into the day. I love those ribbon cables. I still have probably 6 drives. The largest is 320 gigabytes. Mike Wojcik, hello. Boy, that is some history. Seldom Ball, as I recall, there were different DVD drive capabilities. Oh, boy, yeah. Different CD capacities, different DVD capacities. They are not the same. Those terms are not synonymous. CD is different than DVD. Both CDs and DVDs had different flavors that had different capacities. So the burned DVD would have to be compatible with whatever drive is in that old computer. Yes, and perhaps you probably wouldn't even be able to burn the DVD on that computer. Well, yeah, you could. You could download the installer on another computer and then copy it to this computer through your network. I think you can still get some. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can get network interaction and even internet activity with XP. Yeah, that should be fine. And yeah, you'd be best to burn the DVD or CD using that computer because there will be compatibility issues between different drives and head alignments, DVD versus DVD. And is that, hang on a moment, is that CD or DVD drive on that computer even capable of the capacity that you need? Yeah, the size of that Linux installer I don't think is very large, so that shouldn't be a problem, even if you have those smallest. I think the smallest CD drive was 300 gigabytes? Was it megabytes? Gosh, I don't know. I remember something 600 and 1.2, or was that 2.5 inch floppy drive? I don't know. Way too much. I have saved one computer case that has 3.5 inch floppy drive slot and 5.25 CD drive bay. I might want to make it into a sleeper machine one day in the future. Speedy C, hello. Speedy was also watching this morning on Fortnite. Alice says, does Dell still make decent laptops? Absolutely. Absolutely they do. Zvi Manor, I have no objections to any major manufacturer laptops. On any particular make or model laptop, you could have reasons to criticize it or complain about it. But you could find reasons to complain about just about any model laptop from any manufacturer. They all have advantages and disadvantages. And it's all about figuring out what's important to you. And in any model, you can get a lemon. And what my opinion, a lot of people who will heavily criticize one particular make or model of computer never get that. It's because they personally had a experience with a lemon in that model range. Now, there are some times, I had a computer, a Dell, $4,000 for a Dell laptop computer that I bought when I was starting my business. I had a reason to buy a high-end laptop in that time frame. I won't go into that because that's a longer story, but it turned out that it had a chronic hinge problem. We replaced the hinges on it, I think, 3 times under warranty. And then after it was out of warranty, I just bought the hinge parts and replaced it because the design of that laptop just wasn't, those hinges were not strong enough for that, for the rest of the frame of that laptop. And it kept breaking over and over and over. So there are those types of flaws that you come across with a particular model. Well, if you have that model computer, you're going to need to baby it for whatever its frailty is. But I would not condemn the manufacturer for that. Maybe condemn the specific model for it and advise people away from that. John Williams, Ran Israel. Greg Guy, morning, Dad. Just got up having first cup of coffee. It's sunny 50 degrees here in Maryland. I don't drink coffee very often, but I'm going to have a cup of coffee after this show is over. I have not had breakfast yet, and I just am in the mood to have a cup of coffee with my breakfast. Dennis, yes, you got it from history. Could you please increase the size of that chat window? Thanks. Oh, zoom in. Thank you. I don't know why I forgot that. He has top chat selected. That doesn't seem to make a difference. There are occasions where that'll make a difference, but that doesn't, in our environment, that doesn't seem to make a difference that I can see. If anybody has discovered a difference that makes, let me know what it is. That was Jim's comment. Yeah, his top chat selected. IDE said the Wayback Machine. Sherman put it out of its misery. The Wayback Machine was Sherman and the turtle. What was the turtle's name? Tootle. Help, Mr. Wizard. Am I mixing up shows? I think I've got the right show. Help me, Mr. Wizard. Something like that. Put it out of its misery. CD 650 to 700 megabytes, not gigabytes. Right, megabytes. Then was there another increment? Did they do a 1.2 gigabytes? The 2.5-inch discs did a 1.2. Zvi, from today, my internet connection with fiber, 300 megabits down, 30 megabits up with fiber. Wow, I would hope fiber to have better upload speed than that. Gee. Then here's DVD, 4.7 to 17 gigabytes. Thank you for putting in these numbers. So here you're seeing huge difference between CDs and DVDs. Then there was also write once, read only, or rewritable RWs, and there were a variety of other initial formats that you had to be sure you were buying the right discs for your particular drive. If you order a new computer, there was often the choice of which type of CD drive that you would get, and you'd want to buy for your purposes. And I never had a lot of uses for CDs and DVDs to the point of really learning those differences well. Ran Israel to Zvi, Mazel Tov, which provider? Alice says, thank you. Greg M. Linux installers have become bloated over the years, size-wise, requiring DVD disc in some cases. Oh, is that so? Did not know. Zvi, partner. Where did provider, partner, is that Zvi's provider? I don't recognize that as a ISP name. Of course, he's in Israel, so yeah, I wouldn't. A single layer Blu-ray disc. Duh. CD, DVD, Blu-ray. What else? And each of those different variations. Single layer, double layer, top and bottom. Blu-ray disc can hold 25 gigabytes of data, while a dual layer Blu-ray disc can hold 50 gigabytes. You know what? I don't think that is single layer. I think that was, isn't that layers from the same side? I don't think that was layers as in opposite sides of the Blu-ray disc. Not sure about that. Though I've never owned one, but I do create a new machine with a DVD, CD player, Blu-ray player. I'm going to go with Blu-ray device. Again, more dreaming, so discuss in modern cases, not having a 5.2-inch bay. I think you could find them. How, are you sure? Have you really looked for 5.25 bay? I think if you go look at a particular computer and say it doesn't have it, therefore none of them have it, that's not a good way to judge it. I think you could still find it. Because there are my medical clients and my law office clients still deal with CDs and DVDs that come from medical providers. You find cases that have the bay, but then you will find the USB 3.0 or USB-C non-existent plugs. Yes, maybe there are some cases out there I consider pretty rare, and it's ridiculous. Well, it's market response. If there's not enough people buying them, they don't make them. Still have an old case with 5.25 base somewhere populated with a 5.25 floppy drive. Ran Israel, or Londog Duran, I have several cases within eyesight with 5.25. Here are XPs. I'm going to skip through a little bit. Sherman and Mr. Peabody, thank you. Yes, Mr. Peabody. I somehow like that show. Greg M., I rarely build systems these days with the 5.25. People I deal with usually don't use DVD CDs. Yeah, I have a client who's requiring it on all their new machines. I have another client who said we can use portable drives and plug them into USB port because it's rare enough that would be okay with us. Still have uses for it. Floppy, 360K, 720K, 1.2 megabytes, and 1.44 megabytes. Those numbers are totally familiar. Absolutely, totally rings with truth. For the, that's that's 5.25-inch floppies. No, wait a minute. 1.2 megabytes was the 5.25 floppies. 1.44 was the 2.5-inch floppies. The 5.25-inch floppies, 360K. The 2.5-inch floppies with the hard shell, 720Ks. I think I'm saying that right. Let's see if I get a confirmation at the end of chat that agrees with that. Yeah, correct. From Selden Ball on the Blu-ray. 2 layers on the same side of the Blu-ray disc. Yeah. Skipping through a little bit. Martin Hogg, I burned a DVD on a different PC, but the old laptop is not booting to it, although top of list in BIOS. So we'll now try to burn a DVD on the target machine, or do I maybe need a CD rather than a DVD? Depends upon the drive. Go into Device Manager to see what kind of drive that is. You should get a clue there. Of course, I don't have a DVD or CD drive. It might be, I'm not sure if it's in the disk drives or some other place, but you should get a clue as to what drive it is. If it doesn't give you enough of a clue in the name, then right-click on it and choose Properties. Go to, let's see, Details, and then Hardware IDs. Hardware IDs or Device IDs? Hardware IDs. This doesn't show a good number here because the item I chose, but take whatever the hardware ID there is and do a Google search for it, and you should get more information about it. Or maybe look up the manufacturer of the drive. Now, another thing is this DVD that you create on a different PC, when you boot up into Windows XP on that computer, can you read the drive? Can it even see it? Can it show you the files that are on the drive? If not, then that would confirm that you're creating the disk on the other computer is not working for you, or the type of disk you're using. Correct 2 layers, same side of Blu-ray, dual layer, same side, dual side, both sides. DL for dual layer plus DS 4 layers. You know what? I remember seeing DL and DS, and I never even cared enough to go look up what they meant, but that makes total sense. Now that you say dual layer and dual side, I totally understand it. I never did even bother looking it up because I didn't have a need to. So glad I don't have to deal with floppy drives anymore. It took me several years before I finally threw those out. I had these boxes and boxes of 2.5-inch discs, and before that, the 5.25-inch disc, and it was just, there was time and effort in those collections. Back in the days when I was in the PC club, we had the disc of the month. I mean, this was before internet. We had dial-up modems to dial into bulletin board services. Internet did not exist. Hyperlinks, HTTP, no, we had, it was not even something that anyone was dreaming about. Dial-up bulletin board services, which means somebody had a computer in their home that had a modem attached or multiple modems attached, and you could dial into their computer. We had a club member in our PC users group that was hosting that machine and would have disc of the month. It would come to our monthly club meetings. He would have 5.25-inch diskettes available for the club members. Sometimes I think we had to pay like $2 a disc or something like that. And he had a whole collection of utilities that he had collected through the month. So, it took time for those collections. So once they were no longer useful, it took a lot of intestinal fortitude to throw those out eventually. 360 plus 1.2 equals 5.25. Yeah, the lower capacity, 360 megabytes. Kilobytes? Must have been megabytes. 1.2 megabytes. That's 5.25-inch. 700, the 2.5-inch diskettes in the hard shell, floppy disk in a hard shell. 720 on the low capacity, 1.44. Absolutely rings true from my memory. I think 2005 was the last year I had a floppy drive in a system. I parted with them circa 2009. No, I cannot see the files on that PC. So that's why you weren't able to boot from it, obviously. Moving and downsizing forces one to toss and toss and toss stuff. Yep. In Israel, I only saw a dual side and dual layer DVD once. Oh, combined on the same disc. It was a copy of Castaway. One side was 3/4 proportions, and the other was 9:16 for proportions. What's the other word I'm trying to think of? No. What's the other word for that proportion? And don't forget, not resolution. That's not resolution. It's related to resolution, but that's not aspect ratio. Thank you. Yes, that's what I was looking for. Don't forget acoustic couplers. Oh yeah, you take the old style dial-up phone or touch-tone phone that has the handset, that has the earpiece and the mouthpiece, and you put it into an acoustic coupler. Been there, done that. Oh, Greg M., you just need to own a house with a garage, BBS with modem. Yeah, bulletin board service with modems. Zavi Menor, absolutely. Somewhere in my garage are multiple boxes, 3.5-inch disc and quite a few 5.25 discs. It's really, really very buried somewhere. Don't you really miss those tones on the dial modem? Yes. And I know that those tones are available like for your ringtone on your phone and for other places that you can use those tones. Yeah, nostalgic, comforting noise. Greg M., I was in a house, to Lawn Dog, I was in a house with a basement for over 20 years and moved into an apartment. There are ancient Apple discs in there along with Commodore. Yeah, there you go. How about the CDs that were just constantly being given away for CompuServe and AOL? Oh my gosh, they would mail them to you. They would be on the checkout counter at the computer stores. CompuServe and AOL CDs. Yeah, there's a login number. That's a login number for CompuServe. Not all of it. Aspect ratio, proportions, aspect ratio. Those were the days when I was using acoustical modem. Then I got an Atari upgrade, which used UART, A and U plug into the phone jack directly. All right, did not do that one myself. If this is a data recovery issue, get one of these. Let's see. Why did that not just click to go to it? Come on, go to it. It's not a channel. I don't want to go to the channel. I want to go to that link. Open link in new tab. Do it that way. Here it is. Drag that over here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got me one of those. I probably have more than one of those, and that's the let's see. One side is for the floppy connector, and one side is for the hard ISD. What did we call it? Such a memory. Such a memory. What did we call it? That other. I'm not going to spot it here. You guys know the other name. IDE. Thank you. One side is IDE, one side is SATA. IDE and SATA. Yeah, that's with that notch there. That's IDE. No. Here's SATA. Here's a SATA connector. I think that's the IDE, and I think that's the floppy drive in those days, isn't it? That's the SATA. 40-pin IDE, 44-pin IDE plus SATA. No, I don't think there's any SATA connector there. This is the SATA signal connector. SATA IDE adapter. Well, it says SATA. What am I saying wrong? 2.5 inch, 3.5 inch external hard drive to USB, hard drive transfer cable. Well, yeah, it says SATA because this is the SATA. 2.5 to 3.5 inch. So that notch right there, that's the IDE, and I think that, see that with that solid piece there? That looks so familiar. Isn't that the floppy drive? Yeah, Jim says, my mistake, 1 3.5 IDE, 1 2.5 IDE, and ATA. ATA. All right, ATA, not SATA. All right, time to move on. Enough of that. Oh, here it says SATA IDE, and it's a USB 3. Yeah, USB 3.0. Okay, continuing. I don't need to have all that clarified perfectly. I opened up on one day and saw one single chip and some support components, a very expensive modem for something that had nothing in it except one single chip. Commodore PET. Plug in the IDE drive and try to read it. If this is a data recovery issue. Yeah, I don't, why were we even talking about that? Wasn't that, I don't think anyone had a problem why we're talking about that. And here is from Ran Israel to me. I'm going to do right click, open a new tab. That's going to come up on this other model. Oh, sound of a dial-up modem. This shouldn't be a copyright violation, right? Yeah. Oh. And I just unmuted it for you. What phone number did he dial? I bet there are websites where you could play. I got to finish this out. Yeah, be still my heart. I bet there's websites that you could play that dial tone into and have it tell you what phone number that was. Hacker. It's a hacker. A UART is usually an individual or part of an integrated circuit used for serial communications over a computer or peripheral serial port. I recognize the acronym, but never looked into it or cared about it. Oh yes, the Commodore PET. I used to own one. So, according Rick Lake says, John Williams, I was number 2 in the thumbs up department. Click it or ticket. Thank you, John. Skipping through a little bit. One side is IDE, other side is SATA. Well, that don't make sense. He's saying like these two sides. This is a SATA signal cable here, and neither of those is going to connect directly onto a SATA drive. Is the name of of one of these cables? One of these cables is named IDE and the other cable is SATA, but I never actually identified it as that. I don't understand how that could be called SATA. The chip took all the crud that was in the old modems and put it into one chip. 40-pin IDE, 44-pin IDE plus SATA. Yeah, this is saying that both of those are IDEs, and that's my impression, is that one of these is IDE for the hard drives, the 44-pin, and the 40-pin would be the IDE for a floppy drive, and then this is the SATA connector. That's what I'm thinking. Well, I have one of those adapters. Yeah, I think I have more than one. One side is for IDE 3.5 and one for IDE 2.5. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, the floppy drives in that era would have been IDE 2.5. I just didn't think of, I just thought of them as floppy drives, right? But a 5.25 inch, whether it was a hard drive or a 5.25 inch floppy, it would be using this side. That's right. Yeah, that rings true. The 2.5 inch drives had this. So even a 2.5 inch IDE drive would be this style of connector. A 5.25 inch hard drive would be this style of connector. So both of them are IDE. They're a different number of pins. That sounds, I think that's right on target. Yeah, Jim's conceding here. Third one, and I know, Jim, you had conceded that while I was still reading your older comments. Third one is not floppy, it's 44 pin. The third one is not floppy, it's 44 pin IDE 2.5 inch discs. Third one. Certainly you're not talking about this as the third one. That's a SATA. That's a SATA signal connector. The IDE connector 3.5 inch. Okay, enough struggling with that. I think we're probably on the same page. SATA's on the end, yes. Alice, flashback. So sorry about that. No, that's not what you meant. Floppy external. What is this giving us? Oh, that's a 2.5 inch external floppy drive. Floppy was 34 pin, not IDE. Same type of ribbon cable, but narrower. All right. So yeah, I think the significant thing there is that this is not floppy on either side. They were both a different size of, no, 2.5, 3.5. Not IDE. Floppy was 34 pin, not IDE. Same type of ribbon cable, but narrower. And remember that twist? There's a twist for the first drive on a hard drive ribbon cable that took 2 drives. All right, I'm getting way too wrapped up in this. I'm over time. The little SATA light indicates SATA plugged in a small in. They obviously haven't had to deal with one of these. Remember laptops. Okay, so I'm caught up. Remember laptops and the first hard drives. Okay, I'm done. Let's get out of here. I do have a redirect set up. Oh, I want to show you this. Get over here. Where is that? Pirate Software. I've talked about him a few times. He's still streaming, but I want to show this. he's streaming on Twitch here with currently 6,500 people watching. On YouTube, he's got how many watching? Maybe I gotta zoom down a little bit to see that. Yeah, 2,500 watching. When I checked earlier, he was way over 10,000 total between the two channels. All right, and he's got this 2,500 watching right now, but he's been streaming for 8.5 hours on YouTube and also for Twitch. But Twitch you can't rewind, so you can't see that. Anyway, I've got a redirect going to him. Say hello when you get over there. If you're willing to make your presence known. And then let's come back to here and say goodbye. All right, catch you all later. Have a great day.
Jake, what is the...